And then I learned for the first time, there's a term, artificial general intelligence. And when we hit that,
Well, I don't know, maybe it never will, because it's always going to be artificial, and it's already generally intelligent. So I wonder more whether it's not about this general level intelligence. It's really just, it's the next step. You've heard of ASI?
there's another level.
Hi, and welcome to It's Not the End of the World, everyday use cases for AI. My name is Bobby McCloudich, and I am here with Andrew Turner. Hi, Andrew.
Hello.
Andrew, tell me, what's your job title?
I am Employee Engagement Director for Diageo North America.
Great. And Diageo is one of the biggest beverage companies in the world.
Yes, it is the largest alcohol beverage company in the world.
Fantastic. Okay, and so give me that job title one more time.
Employee Engagement Director for Diageo North America.
Okay, we have a very kind of broad audience. We're trying to appeal to everybody. We have lawyers on, we have teachers on, we have electricians on. So for a broad audience, what does that mean exactly?
Basically, I work in corporate communications. So Employee Engagement Director at Diageo North America is unique in this journey because up until this role, my role was very editorial. A lot of writing, a lot of executive messaging, sort of what's the story on the homepage today kind of thing. This role is much more, it's a lot of writing as well. I still do a lot of that, executive messaging, speech writing, things like that, with a greater focus on culture. It's about what it feels like to be a Diageo employee, how our employees are informed, engaged. There's a very soft science to what I do.
Okay. All right. So it sounds to me like it's a combination of PR, advertising, even politics, but internally for these kind of massive corporations.
Exactly.
They have these internal comms functions that use all of those disciplines and bring them all together.
Yeah.
And
there's been a greater focus on employee culture as corporations vie to retain employees, to have long careers at various organizations. There is a great deal of focus, especially post-pandemic, getting people to come back to the office. And what does that mean to be an office-based employee rather than just a remote employee? So I try to create that sense of FOMO. What's going on in the office? How can I be a part of that? I'm very glad to be in the corporate relations function at Diageo, which sits very closely with the PR, the external media relations, reputation management, government relations. Yeah.
How many employees are there at Diageo?
There are 2,900 in North America alone, and globally there are 30,000.
30,000.
Yes. And that's, it really speaks to my personal corporate purpose, which is to make a very wide, very diverse body of employees feel like a very small community of people. So you're trying to convey that sense of intimacy. You're trying to convey that sense of, well, we're just this small community of individuals who contribute and add value every day, but we're not this nameless, faceless behemoth corporation with 30,000 employees just sort of being cogs in a wheel.
Yeah, so it's all about trying to make people feel close, create community, but also, I suppose, important to get messaging out to the staff base
Right.
when there is important communication that needs to be put out there. And how do you communicate to 30,000 people? How do you make sure that all of 30,000 people are reading the memo or seeing the video or seeing the important piece of content?
Well, we did so today. With the very large announcement of our new CEO. It came out from Global, but it doesn't end there. It can't end there. It shouldn't end there. Could end there, but it shouldn't end there, because immediately at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm on the train into work, reading the news, and my counterparts, my manager and I got immediately on the phone and started crafting a message for our local CEO to share this news with our employees, because our employees should hear it, not just from global first, but also with a bit of sauce from our local CEO as well, so that we can know that she's engaged, she's sharing the news, she's celebrating in the news, and all that.
To summarize kind of what your day-to-day job looks like then, I'm hearing there's a lot of writing, there's a lot of thinking about how to communicate ideas to people, which probably takes the form of writing as well. What else is part of your day-to-day?
A lot of editorial, not just what I referenced earlier about stories on the homepage, but editorial also includes activities. What can we create for our employees? What kind of engagements, activations can we create, which, run the gamut of learning and development opportunities, expanding people's skill sets, bringing in outside speakers to educate our employees on topics that they want to know more about.
All right. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of why you came here. All right. Give me a bit of a sense of, when I say the word AI, what do you think?
I remember, and this is a very personal anecdote between the two of us, that the first time I saw AI was on that flight to Louisville. Was it
Kentucky?
Louisville? Yeah, Kentucky.
We were on a flight together to Kentucky.
Yeah, we're actually sitting next to each other. So the universe planned for us to sit next to each other. It wasn't neither of our choices. And I think I told you at the time, my nephew just got his PhD in artificial intelligence from Berkeley.
I've forgotten that, actually.
3 years ago. So he is right on his timing could not be more perfecter.
Yeah.
So he immediately started working for Google DeepMind.
Oh, okay.
So he's
here in the States, or is he in the UK, in London?
Here in the States, but he goes back and forth to London all the time. So you had brought it up on your phone, and you said, "Give me a prompt."
This must have been the end of 2022 then, November, December, January sort of time. Okay.
Yeah. And the prompt was, we had a brewery opening outside of Chicago, or in Chicago, I'm sorry, Guinness brewery opening. And I said, all right, just for giggles, I'm working on an employee engagement campaign to get employees excited about this brewery opening in Chicago. It's 6-7 months away. Here's what we did for the brewery opening in Baltimore. What would you recommend? And you, within a few seconds, in a few sentences, typed out exactly what I had just said. No more, very thinly described. And it kicked out volumes of, here's what you do, almost like a Thanksgiving recipe. Here's what you do 6 months out. Here's what you do 3 months out. And I looked at it with just a side eye thinking, can't be right. And I would say a good 70-75%, incredibly right on the money. Right. And that was an aha moment for me.
Huh.
And
I didn't know that. I'm not going to lie. That's making me, my ego is flaring up right now.
No, but it was remarkable because immediately because of the information it's scouring, and I've since learned in the 3 years since, you're only as good at, well, not only, but you're much stronger the stronger your prompt. But it was scouring everything available to the Baltimore opening, what the Baltimore brewery does, how successful the Baltimore brewery is, and sort of reverse engineered an employee engagement plan based on, the information it got from that, the information it gets from Dublin and how popular the storehouse is, and the things that you can do. So that was quite remarkable. But I up until about 6 months ago, I'd had no real interaction with AI whatsoever, and I was quite proud of that fact. I'm a big Terminator movie fan, and you think about that moment when Cyberdyne Electronics came online.
Cyberdyne Systems.
Cyberdyne Systems
101. Something like that, right? T800.
Yeah.
Cyberdyne Systems model. I forget. I want the line. I can't get it.
At cocktail parties and gatherings, and when AI would come up, I always had the humorous observation, like, when I think about it, the human race and think, we had a good run. And, it's not that much of an exaggeration when you think about the exponential growth that artificial intelligence has had. And then I learned for the first time through a training session I did just the other day with AI, with the marketing team, there's a term, artificial general intelligence. And when we hit that, it's not, game over. But that's when water will meet its level.
We'll see what happens when that.
Yeah.
I mean, look, who knows? You've said a lot there that I want to respond to. No, not at all. I mean, because look, when you drop artificial general intelligence on me, I'm Terminator 2.
Right.
I'm desperate to, jump down that existential
Right.
rabbit
No,
hole.
but I'll return back to the simplicity of a strong. Your AI results are much stronger the stronger the prompt is, and that's what I'm in my infancy am starting to get my head around. That I need to start. Like the workshop I really want to take is on prompt writing.
Okay, so several things there. Prompt engineering, your moment 6 months ago in which you made a change and kind of thought, actually, I'm going to start using this thing, even though previously there'd been some philosophical doubt about it. And of course, artificial general intelligence. So those three areas, I'm going to dip into all three of those, if I can. So I'm going to start with the AGI bit, which the interesting thing about that, I'm not going to go too sort of existential, which you would think I would with that terminology. But so for our listeners, if any listeners aren't aware, AGI is artificial general intelligence, is what they it's a synonymous with human level intelligence,
right?
Or human-like intelligence. And I personally think the whole thing is a little bit of a red herring, like a misdirect, because actually when we think about a large language model and ChatGPT, it's kind of obvious to me this is already a general intelligence. If we define general as just being generally good at a lot of things, right? The large language model is generally applicable to most tasks,
right?
Which is what makes it so bloody good, and why this podcast is useful, because I can speak to anybody from any profession, and they are all experimenting with this general technology. It's already generally intelligent. But
it's meeting us at our it's sort of meeting us at our level,
right?
If you think about the IQ of the general population, and then artificial intelligence getting to that level IQ and sailing past it.
Well, it's already sailed past it. This is the point. Like the things that it can do. If you ask me, give me 50 ideas for how to open the Guinness brewery in Dublin or to promote Guinness, it'll spit out 50.
Yeah, in seconds.
In seconds. No human could do that. Right, so and many other tasks it could also do far better than any human.
Well, you're equating speed with intelligence. Yes, it could churn out a person could churn out those 50. It would take them 10, 15 minutes maybe. But the speed is not everything.
It's not. But it is. But it is. Yeah, right. But what I'm saying is, I think human-like intelligence is the misnomer of which people are misappropriating artificial general intelligence for. Artificial human-like intelligence, something completely different. And I don't think it will ever, I'm not sure it will ever happen, because humans are alive, and they are conscious. And to be living and to be conscious, I believe, is kind of interrelated.
Right.
And I think that everyone's kind of thinking, oh, well, what's going to happen when they turn it their human level or human-like? Well, I don't know. Maybe it never will, because it's always going to be artificial, and it's already generally intelligent. So I wonder more whether it's not about this general level intelligence. It's really just it's the next step. You've heard of ASI?
No.
Okay, so once it hits general, the real thing to watch out for. Yeah. So general intelligence, in theory, is just a moment, because once it hits human level intelligence, it can now, assuming it's as good as any human at doing anything, it can be it's a computer scientist, and it can now code, and now it can improve itself, and now it can learn ways to improve itself. And once it can start improving itself, it doesn't need a human in the loop to help it improve itself. Then it far surpasses a human being. And once it far surpasses a human being, they call that ASI, or artificial super intelligence. Arguably, it's already super intelligent in many ways. So we've already just floated. And ultimately, that's really the big kind of like scratch your head moment, get your shotgun, sit in a rocking chair, go in the bunker, because all bets are off.
Yeah.
That's the thing to really be terrified about, I
Yeah.
suppose, if we're going to be terrified. However,
Right. We're not there.
we're not there, and,
Nope.
and no one knows really actually what happens when all of these dominoes start to fall. So that's the existential bit. Good rewinding. There was a 6 months ago, and then there was prompt engineering. So
Yes.
let's talk about the actual practicalities of prompt engineering. 'Cause I have a comment to make on that as well, because I think that's an interesting one. And I think for our listeners, again, I'm sort of hoping that people who are listening are perhaps, new-ish to the space. And I think that some people think that prompt engineering means writing the perfect prompt, right?
Yeah, I don't want to come across saying that there is a perfect prompt.
Right.
There are stronger prompts, and you can get better at that, and your results will obviously get better at that. The thing that really, from a communication standpoint, and I'll bring this sort of around to what I do on a day-to-day, from a communication standpoint, the thing that attracted me about using a GPT is not fear, that's the wrong word, the anxiety of a blinking cursor, the anxiety of a blank page, the notion of here's something that can seed the conversation or can seed the narrative, not concede, but can seed the narrative and get me started. So I love the notion of, if I do executive messaging, I can share with ChatGPT or whatever platform I'm using the biography of the person for whom I'm writing, message that I want to convey in bullet points or broad strokes or whatever, and the tone, and in seconds can spit out, and the length. I can say make it less than 500 words, make it that kind of thing, and that appealed to me, not as a shortcut. Well, I suppose as a shortcut because it sort of greased the wheels, but I love the way the opportunity I get in writing, and I feel that I'm a very strong writer, and I don't want to use this as a crutch, but I do want to use this to seed ideas that I might not have thought of right away.
Interesting. Okay, well, maybe that brings me to the other question I wanted to ask you was, so is 6 months ago you started using it more. It sounds like you're describing what happened 6 months ago. Is this the revelation that came to you?
That was that sort of aha moment of, okay, it's not the end of humanity. This actually could be a tool. So I've no business letting AI, or I have no interest, I should say, in letting AI do my work for me. But it appeals to me that it gets me started.
Do you even think it could do your work for you at this current state?
Sure.
Do you think so? You think that it can write as well as Andrew
Well,
Turner?
I mean, you bring up that human. It is not human, and what I do is wholly human. But you think about how artificial intelligence is developing. I was having a conversation with somebody who was a coder, and I thought, isn't it remarkable that we spent the past 2 decades encouraging our kids to learn code, especially girls who code, girl code, that kind of thing. And now it's all,
bets are off.
All bets are off. And he sort of took, not offense, but issue. And he said, no, there's still going to need to be coders. There's still going to be need to people check the code that artificial intelligence. I'm like, you know what? Those are just going to be adjudicators. Those are just going to be people making sure that.
Interesting. It's very interesting, actually. I do have some reflections on that as well. Because I just had a developer on a couple of episodes ago. He said that very much so. They're pushing around AIs to do the code now. It hasn't recalibrated to how quickly humans can code at this point. But there is a bottleneck. And as your friend pointed out, it's for the quality assurance technicians.
Right, exactly.
They have to have a human checking for cybersecurity risks and all this sort of stuff. That said, inspired by this podcast, I do dip into coding, not because I can code, but just because I want to see whether an AI can build an app for me or whatever. Can I make something useful with zero coding experience? And this weekend, literally just gone for the first time, after that podcast, thought, it might be time to dip back in again. One of the producers at work, we do our estimates. When a client comes to us, we have a 2-day shoot. It needs a certain number of camera operators. How much is that going to cost? we've got a spreadsheet that we use and blah, 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 and then spit out an estimate, and it's, try varying degrees of professionalism is the actual document that comes out. And sometimes the spreadsheet breaks and the producers are scratching their heads, like trying to fix the formulas.
Yeah.
And she came to me asking if I could fix one of these formulas. And I was like, girl, spreadsheets are so 2020.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, we should just code our own one. So Saturday afternoon, I spent, around sort of 3:00, the soccer was on, and decided to just open up Gemini and start trying to code something. 2 hours later, I had an unbelievable product and thought, oh my God, I am the next Elon Musk. This is it. But next day, I thought I could add another feature.
But you came back to work.
Right. Well, we'll see, Andrew. But
Right.
the next day, I wanted to add another feature and just improve it a little bit, and hit a bug, right? And then another bug, and then another bug, and I just couldn't. The AI started getting stuck in a loop. The
Right.
AI started saying, "Oh, I can see that's so frustrating. Don't worry. Oh, you've spotted something. You're so clever. Let me just fix that for you. Fixed. You won't have that problem again. Press it. Doesn't work.
Yeah.
Same problem." And I was like, that's when the reality kind of, I can't code.
Right.
So I could get it so far, but I couldn't actually
Oh, okay.
fix it, and also I couldn't, I could never market that product. I could never sell that product, because even if I can get it working, I'm confident maybe giving it to my small team and saying, guys, we can use this, but I wouldn't know how to. I wouldn't be confident that if I gave it to you, Andrew Turner, and said, hey, you should use this to budget for our productions,
Right.
and sent it to you at Diageo to use this piece of code that I've just built. I don't know what the security risks are. I don't know what, I have no idea what the back end looks like. It's just an AI has just built it for me. And it's sort of amazing, but to your point, I think there still needs to be, if you are a coder, if you know how to code, you can now do so much more, I don't know how to code, so I'm limited in what I can do. It's amazing what I can do. I do think there's a future there. I think there's going to be people, individual coders perhaps, in small organizations like ours,
Right.
making everything look really amazing and slick.
But exponentially less of them, though.
Right.
That was the only point. I know that guardrails are, and this still, as AI is developing, as it's getting, newer versions. I don't, like I said, I'm not literate in code. I don't code. I never have. But it just strikes me that's an industry that's, it's sort of the blockbuster video of.
Completely agree. I wonder though if it's, I wonder all those people that are going to be losing their jobs at Facebook, Amazon, etc. Maybe they are now, it's everything becomes democratized, right? Everything becomes more affordable. Maybe the amount that those people are worth is different, or the way that they market themselves, or maybe it's like an hourly fee. They all become freelancers. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do imagine that a business like mine will have the services of one of those people, and they will have, and now we could probably afford to completely transform all of our internal systems. We're no longer relying on a clunky Google Sheets.
Yeah.
We could actually have a pristine product that we just are able to get. A couple of things that come to mind is, Diageo, I'm talking about a small business like mine, which is like 20, 30 people max,
Right.
Having the luxury of a independent developer that could make all of our systems slick. But a corporation like Diageo, they literally have internal tech people, I imagine. Now, I say that because I was speaking to a lawyer from Freshfields, which is a major law firm, and he said they have data scientists, technicians, and his light bulb moment, his aha moment with AI was when he said to one of these guys, hey, I want this app that could do this thing. I think it would be really useful.
Right.
And in the past, when he's asked that question, the developer would say to him, yeah, that'll be about 6 months to a year.
Mm-hmm.
When he asked this guy on this occasion 6 months ago, he said, 2 weeks, and he was like, what? And he said, yeah, it's just these AI tools, amazing.
Yeah.
So let me pivot there and put the spotlight on Diageo itself. Is AI a word at Diageo? And if so, how's it spoken about?
Right now, AI is It's not, I mean, we had come out with our own Diageo GPT recently, and, try to get people interested, engaging with it. Right now, AI at Diageo is really focused on productivity, how to do our jobs better, how to do our jobs faster, more comprehensively. The deep research function, when we're looking at things like trends, brand visibility, leadership visibility, Gen Z and its relationship with our products, and things like that.
Give me a sense of that. So deep research, again, for the listeners, is a button that you press on ChatGPT. It's called deep research. I think it's called deep research on Gemini as well, and I'm not sure what it is on Claude, but it's a button that you press. When you press that, an AI agent
Right.
goes out onto the web and conducts thorough research. It can take anywhere from 20 minutes plus.
Right.
And then it comes back with a really well-written report on that particular subject with source links, etc. Of course, it can still make things up and hallucinate, which is part of the landscape.
Yep.
But it is a
hallucination was an interesting term I learned during this recent marketing training.
Right. Yeah. It's something we have to be completely aware of when it comes to this tool.
Yeah. I mean, like humans, where there are gaps in knowledge, misinformation will fill in rapidly.
Yeah, it's interesting. And again, it's like, so it's such a recalibration to think like, oh, a machine can imagine things. It's not just a binary on-off switch. When I do this, it does that. It's sort of, we're playing with probability at this point. But I wanted to ask you, so that's what deep research is. So you might use it. You said, maybe what trends are with Gen Z, for example. Can you just give me that a bit more color around that particular?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're constantly looking at the idea of, how are people drinking? What is people's relationship with beverage alcohol? And that also includes non-alcoholic drinks as well, things like Seedlip and Ritual. And
But why are you doing it? Your internal comms.
When you think about it, as part of the corporate relations team, not the one that I'm on, but they're adjacent to me, is our society team. And so we look at the three pillars of our society efforts, which are responsible drinking, sustainability, and inclusion and diversity.
Okay. So the point you're making is that, hey, yes, we do a lot of internal communications, but we work very closely also with thinking about societal impact and broader societal issues. And for that reason, you may well be researching trends with Gen Z,
Exactly.
etc.
Exactly. Right, it also speaks to our work reputationally with Diageo. How are we showing up in the marketplace? How are we showing up in advertising? How are we showing up on college campuses? Things like that. And so when I throw out a broad term like the trends of Gen Z drinking, I think about just headlines that people are picking up. Why are people drinking less? Oh, Gen Z has a different relationship with alcohol beverage than, say, millennials or Gen X.
I'm sure I can imagine the value at this point, but bring it home for me. So what does deep research do for you, and how is it better than what you would have done before?
It's better. Well, it's better because it feels more, truly it does feel more comprehensive, but it gives us an opportunity to cast a wide net for this kind of research to fully understand the particular issue that we're asking about.
What would you have done before?
Working with agency partners, working with subject matter experts, our partnership with various lobbying organizations, our partnerships with various responsible drinking organizations.
Do you still have those partnerships?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nothing has been done yet to fully insulate Diageo. Oh, we're just going to rely on AI. But
right. So it doesn't replace those relationships.
No, not at all. But it empowers us to know more, to know more comprehensively, to know a broader picture, a better picture.
So then I'm guessing then, because it doesn't replace those relationships you just described. So I'm imagining, correct me if I'm wrong, but either you didn't have anything you could do. If you were just wondering what are trends with Gen Z at the moment, either you had to just Google and look for an article that you trusted, and which is quite limited, or several Googles, or nothing at all.
Right. Or these agency partners that we work with
Right.
who, give us these reports, these white papers, these,
Okay.
these.
So this bridges that gap.
Oh,
This
absolutely.
is like, you were doing this before. That is actually quite a lot of money you need to spend to do that.
Exactly.
Now you can do a deep research, which sits somewhere in the middle.
And it empowers us to be more knowledgeable ourselves so that we can ask the right questions of these partner agencies, of these partner organizations, so that we know we become more literate, we become more empowered to drive the conversation, to participate in the conversation.
Yeah, that's great. That's a really positive spin on what is a apocalyptic technology.
Sure.
It's going to kill us all. All right. So I'm hearing two things that you've described here. You've described one, the ability to get going with the flashing cursor, the blank piece of paper syndrome,
Sure.
and just getting the wheels moving, greasing the wheels, as it were. And not replacing, you actually take pride in your writing, and it's always very interesting. My wife's a writer as well. She uses it a lot, and it's very interesting when a writer realizes it's not cheating to use this, but it's actually a tool. The other part is for this deep research capacity that it sounds like also fulfills a gap that is very useful. So, Andrew, now we're going to move to the easy breezy part of the podcast. Okay, this is the practical part of the podcast. I want this podcast to be practical, pragmatic, and give people who are listening the opportunity to take some tips away with them. Not only that, it gives me shareable content for my TikTok and my Instagram channels.
Excellent.
Which is what it's all about. So the fun bit of the podcast where we go to our quick tips, the quick tips section. Quick tip number one, Andrew, a general tip, broad idea of how to use this technology.
I know that a lot of people are, they look at boomers and Gen X, myself included in Gen X. It's becoming the new Google. And I think my biggest tip to get engaged with it, to really end up going down the rabbit hole, is to be curious and allow your curiosity to sort of feed your exploration and what you want to accomplish. I'll give you a wonderful example. I had a hissing coming from my toilet tank. I like to think I can fix things myself. And I noticed there was a little stream coming from one of the doohickeys. Am I saying that right? So I took a picture of it and I uploaded it to ChatGPT. No video, just the picture. And it immediately in seconds came back and said, oh, that's your Chamberlain flange and it's cracked. Here's the size you need. Here's where to get it. Home Depot, Lowe's, it gave me a whole bunch of links. And by the way, here's a YouTube video to show you how to swap it out.
Yeah, you're talking about the it's not just Google, it's something more, it's more general, right? It has a more general problem-solving intelligence than Google.
Yeah. What was that movie with Scarlett Johansson with the dinosaurs? Oh, it was that's Google. But how do I accomplish this when here are my impediments? And that's ChatGPT.
Yeah. I think what's really important for people to remember is its unique skill is its ability to synthesize context, and then speak to you about whatever's happening. And because you can have a long conversation with it, the real magic is when you are having a long conversation with it and it remembers every part of that conversation.
Right.
And it's able to speak to you about your nuanced circumstance.
Yeah. And given your choice of words, it can glean your mood. It can glean, I can see you're frustrated.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, that's very interesting.
And that's far beyond Google, but it begins to have that conversation, and it remembers, whereas Google will not. It remembers what was 2 or 3 questions ago. Oh, you brought up such and such. I want to assure you that such and such.
Yeah, it's really funny. I'm laughing because you're making me think of the memory feature. So I'm having this issue with my memory feature. So my ChatGPT. So when I was trying to encourage people at my work to start using this stuff, I did a show and tell, and to make it fun, I pretended that I was I had an imaginary video production company, and I was going to do a day in the life of this guy running a video production company, and his name was Gary Cabbage, right? So before I went into the meeting, I told ChatGPT, can you now refer to me as Gary Cabbage from now on, right? And this is over a year ago, and It was great for the meeting.
Yeah.
You know, I got advanced voice mode up. Hi, advanced voice mode. Oh, hi, Gary Cabbage. And, you know, everyone laughed. It was very engaging. Anyway, to this day, it still calls me Gary Cabbage.
Until you stop.
Yeah.
Until you tell it to stop.
Well, I have told it to stop. I said, I'm not Gary Cabbage. And it says, oh, sorry for calling you Gary Cabbage. I said, it's okay, but from now on, just refer to me as my actual name. Do you know what my name is? Yes, you're Bobby McCloudich. You live in New York City. He knows all this stuff about me. Okay, great. Thank you very much. And then literally just this morning, I was doing something and it said, hi, Gary Cabbage. And I was like, I'm not Gary Cabbage.
So is it an 8-year-old? Is your ChatGPT 8 years old?
I don't know what's going on.
Please tell me it came up with an avatar for you.
Well, when I did the Gary Cabbage thing, yes, I did. Yeah, I had an avatar. Anyway, enough about Gary Cabbage. But I think that speaks to the weird, sort of imperfect nature of this thing that's so powerful and yet not. Anyway, that was a general. That was a general tip. Let's be the quick tips, Andrew. Next one is a specific use case or your own personal superpower or hack.
I look around, I look for projects around the house that I can take a video of, or I could take a photo of, that I could, get ChatGPT's, not direction, input, partnership on,
Hey.
How do I solve for this? I forever wanted to redesign the kitchen. Not decorate it myself, not put out. I have no architectural background whatsoever, but here's the layout of the kitchen. I'm thinking about a center island. What do you envision with this or for this? And having it come back to me with images of what the kitchen could look like with the same dimensions, with the same totally different layout. Sink is now over, that kind of thing.
That is great.
And I love the door opening that does.
Interior design. Yes,
Yeah.
You're right. It does open up doors, doesn't it? That's
Yeah.
the thing. So I've also used it for that. So we've, as you know, just had a baby.
Mhm.
And when we were doing the nursery, my wife and I had very different ideas of taste.
Sure.
But we got a rug for the nursery and she was sending me different rug ideas. I wasn't sure if I liked some of them. I had certain ideas. Realized, I can get ChatGPT to put the rug in the room.
Oh, yeah.
And it does it really, really well. And then she would send me a screenshot of a rug that she liked, and I could take that screenshot and put it in. I even was, we were wandering around town and I saw a pattern on a bag that I liked. And I thought, maybe a pattern like this on a rug would be good. So I took a photo of the bag and said, can you put this pattern in the room on the rug? And yeah, it just does an amazing job. I mean, obviously with ChatGPT, it doesn't perfect, it changes some of the details of the room. But if you use Google Gemini, that's very good at keeping everything precise and then just changing one element.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I remember when we redid our front porch. We reimagined our whole front facade. And we had very specific ideas about how we wanted to do this. And I spent 6 hours in Photoshop, ran out into my front yard, took an iPhone photo of my front porch or the whole house facade, and spent 6 hours in Photoshop putting a new front porch just based on stock photos from the internet. But this, in seconds,
Incredible,
the
right?
partnership that you can have with GPT.
Yeah.
What does GPT stand for, by the way?
Generative pre-trained transformer. No idea what that means. It's funny, isn't it? How did that, it's such a cumbersome word, isn't it? ChatGPT.
Right.
How did that become the Kleenex?
Yeah. And when does ChatGPT become a noun? Not a noun, a verb.
Yeah, ChatGPT'd it.
That was always I'm going to Netflix that later.
It is
I'm going to Google that later,
Kind of is a verb. But I mean, I think it's already. I noticed that people say chat, right? Have you noticed that? I noticed that some people, my young colleagues, they say chat. I put it into chat, and then my father-in-law, who's like in his 70s, also has that lingo. He says, "Yeah, I spoke to chat the other day." Anyway, that was great. I really love that interior design as a specific use case and superpower. It was really nice. I do want to kind of also just mention that, to your point on the facade of the house and Photoshop.
Yeah.
2 things here. One, do you know that Photoshop's now got integrated
Generative fill? Something like that?
generative fill.
I haven't used it yet.
The latest update, it might still be in beta,
Yeah.
and coming to main. But with generative fill now, you can choose the model and so the Adobe ones aren't that good, but you could choose the Google one, which is the best one. It's called Nano Banana, and if you choose that one,
I've heard of that. Yeah.
that's the one where you can take this photo of somebody and just turn them so they're looking that way. Or like one of your colleagues was asking us they didn't want Crown Royal bags in the photos. No, we didn't use we didn't use AI on it. I did think to myself, it'd be very easy just to remove those from the shot and it would look exactly like it, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know whether that means that designers are out of a job or not. You know, you're not going to hire a designer to mock up what the front of your house would look like.
Right.
And Diageo will always hire a designer to do important work because it can't afford to make a mistake.
Right.
So
and there's also I mean, this is something that I think about when I was thinking about in prep for this conversation, the notion of the veracity, the truthfulness of having a qualifier at the bottom saying AI generated, or, you know, especially in the internal comms world, if I could just shift back for that for a second, employees, you'll lose their trust immediately if they think this was our CEO, the speech was written by AI or written by chat, so I can sound cool. You know, I think about that kind of trust that you have with your constituents, whether those are employees for me or for my colleagues, the press, or for, you know, film directors and their audiences, you know, knowing that this baseball stadium of people is not people. And you know, where do you draw the line there? Where do you, you know?
Yeah, society's recalibrating. And what do people trust? What do people don't? What is okay to be AI? Because some things I think are okay to be AI generated.
Sure.
You know, like I was speaking to a teacher and he was, you know, he's a teacher and teachers are so overworked. And he was like, oh, one thing that's really useful for us, like we have to do these PR brochures, you know, for our school and advertising. You know, he's a science teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, it's really helpful for me just to get the AI does a really good job of doing that. I'm like, yeah, like why he's already overworked. And he's not a PR specialist. Why is he writing copy for the brochure, you know, on top of his day job?
Right.
And that's actually, and it has quite a specific language. Maybe that's not even the best example. Maybe there's better examples. Might be, I don't know, when something has to be in law jargon, you know, that's ripe for AI because you have to write in a very specific way. Who cares if the human wrote that or not?
Party of the first part is, yeah.
You know, and I think we're trying to figure out where is it okay and where is it not okay. I don't know, how are you finding navigating this new M- sort of world? Have you noticed that? So
no.
Oh, so one of the telltale signs of
AI,
something's written by AI, is that long dash, which I didn't even realize before was referred to as an M-.
Yeah. M-, N-, and a hyphen. Those are the three.
Right. So the M-, AI uses it prolifically, or just uses it correctly, but most people don't use it, right? So writers are all up in our arms because they're like, I know how to use an M-, and I love using M-.
I do too, yeah.
Right. When people will now look at that and they'll wonder, is that written by ChatGPT because it has an M- in it?
Yeah.
You know, I'm now in a weird position because I'm very aware of all of this. I'm now wondering, it's like the bluff and then the double bluff and then you know that I know that you know that I know. So I've started leaving the M-. And also because I didn't know how to use M- before. So now I am actually using them because I'm like, it's taught me how to use them properly.
Right.
It's weird.
My favorite tell early on was, I hope this email finds you well. And I had to tell Chat to stop using that phrase. And because everything that I would, take the persona of a CEO of a major North America beverage consumer products company. You're trying to get this message across. And 9 times out of 10, it would start with, I hope this email finds you well.
I say, I hope this email finds you well. My AI doesn't say it. So the next one is, let's see, fun or unexpected use case.
Travel. Everyone has a chat group that they're a part of, and I have that chat group. We friends that went to college with, and for our 50th birthday, we rented a place in the south of Italy, and we, it was almost we got together, because we love each other and we're close friends, but also we're part of this we created this chat group out of that. And now we're coming up on our 60th, and we want to figure out, where do we go? And there are a lot of strong opinions in this group. And so AI is a wonderful opportunity to just sort of throw the different personas into the mix and have it sort of make recommendations and put together itineraries. Not necessarily this flight and this location, well, this location, but not necessarily this time, this flight kind of specificity, but the notion of, well, if you're thinking about Croatia, here are the opportunities that are available to you. And here are the things you can do on a 5-day trip, on a 7-day trip, on a 3-day trip, kind of thing.
That's good. All right.
Yeah.
Give me the specific workflow for that. If I'm listening to this, I'm like, oh, that sounds good. So what, you can get it to do like itineraries, and also it's helpful when there's people with different ideas.
Yeah. I mean, there are about 12 of us, and, sort of describe each one of us, where we are in our lives, what we do for a living, things that interest us, the places we want to avoid, because we kind of want to go. The Puglia was amazing because nobody had ever been, and it's the heel of the boot. And it was revelatory for all of us. So we want to replicate that. And so where are the places like south of France? A number of us have been to the south. I mean, these are tough problems to have. But that's the fun use case of this.
Yeah, everyone's give you a bio.
Yeah.
Everyone to give you a place that they don't, places they don't want to go or have all been, you know what I mean? Like maybe even get ChatGPT to give you the questionnaire to send out to get everyone to fill it in. And then you can put it all in to the chat. It could take all of that context and then really tailor.
Yeah. And here are the things that I'm allergic to. Here are the things that I try to avoid, culinarily speaking, those kind of things.
You'll have like a mega chat, like a perfect sort of, ChatGPT chat that's well tailored to you and your group. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, you have to let me know how that goes. You're gonna have to come on the pod again.
Excellent.
And let me know how that
With
goes.
photographs. Yeah.
Anyway, Andrew, this has been such a wonderful conversation. I really enjoyed having you on the podcast. Thank you so much for coming in.
I appreciate your involving me.
Absolute pleasure. And to you, the viewer, thank you for listening. And we will see you next time on It's Not the End of the World, everyday use cases for AI, unless it really is the end of the world. See you next time.